Welcome back to the Paulie and Dev Show. It's the show with Paulie and Dev. And this week, Brad. Brad, welcome to the Paulie and Dev Show. How the hell are you feeling?
Thank you for having me. Feeling great. Excited to go over some of the stuff that's taken place this season and catch up with you guys, of course.
Dude, Brad, I always love talking to you, man. I always love having conversations with you. But before we do get started, I want to send my condolences, to you for Tyler and, to the entire challenge community on Tyler's passing. You won the original Cutthroat with him. I want to know that season, your relationship with him, everything like that. I know this is hitting the OGs very, very hard. I've met Tyler a couple times. He's been great to me. I love the guy who's always just so much great energy. But to the OGs, like, this is one of your own. This is a family member going. So we want to extend our condolences, but talk to us a little bit about Tyler as you knew him.
Thank you, and condolences to the entire challenge community. It's definitely a big loss for all of us. On the original Cutthroat season, what I will tell you is I was massively surprised by his ability to compete and just, like when you're trucking through a final and you have those moments of like where you really find out what you're made of. He just showed up and he was always on. A great competitor. I truly think he's one of the most underestimated competitors in the game. A lot of people leave this out. I mean, the Johnny backpack from Cutthroat was a legendary limb, but a lot of people don't realize that Tyler put up a hell of a good fight against CT in the exact same elimination, and just amazing to watch live. Not just him competing on that season, but on All-Stars 2, I think you heard this story when we were in Minneapolis, and that's when I really, truly realized that I love this man. He blew his nose into his comforter in the middle of the night. Tina started yelling at him. I slept through the whole thing. True story, true story. We do a challenge in like 110-degree heat. We're talking like that borderline heat stroke shit. And I come home and I'm exhausted and I just flop myself onto my bed, my arms up like this. And then I notice my elbow is sitting in the mucus that he blew out of his nose the night before because the cleaning ladies had switched the comforters. And I was just, Devin, for real. And I'm just repulsed by this. But that's when I realized that I love this man because I can still talk to him after this happened. And I'm thinking 9 out of 10 people, I would have been, I'm done with you. I mean, you're disgusting. I can't believe you did this. That was one of the times where I was just like, God, I really love this guy. Like I put it right in the past. And it was one of those moments where you really realized like, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Like as gross as that was, yeah. I gotta say, for me to still be able to high five him the next day and everything else, like, that says something for me.
And that does say something to you because you were ready to fight everybody on season 40 after that fight with things getting launched across and things getting on your bed. So.
Well, I do believe it's
kind of fight.
That was bad. It was bad.
I hated that fight. It was gross.
Yeah, I would have been fine with it if it wasn't over my bed. But once I saw CT pouring coffee in the 3-man slingshot right over my mattress, that was it. That was it.
That's electric. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, Tyler's in everybody's thoughts, and just I didn't get the chance to meet him, of course, myself, but based on everybody's reaction, just when his name gets brought up, gone too soon. Great person, and thoughts and prayers with his family and to all of you guys, Brad. Now
Thank
you are back on Cutthroat again. I guess Johnny was also on Cutthroat. Was Cara there? Or is it just you, Johnny, and then CT as a mercenary?
Cara was on the original Cutthroat.
Okay, so
I think Brad is the only winner of Cutthroat there.
We've got 4 representatives of the original Cutthroat, and then obviously CT as a mercenary. Just in the beginning of this, how did it stack up in your mind? Were there added expectations as a defending champ of a similar or of the same format? And what were the differences this time around in a same format season?
Honestly, Devin, I would have loved to have felt the connection to the game that you're speaking to. Unfortunately, I showed up and felt like it was a completely different game. I see so many new
Hmm.
faces. I watched 41, and I see all these new threats that not only, before the first challenge, we ran down 42 flights of stairs, we ran miles through the city, and I saw how much gas these new threats had in the tank. And I got to be honest, they've got a lot of gas in the tank. I mean, there was no chain smoking weirdos, no bullshit like that. I mean, these kids came and they could throw down 6 minute miles almost endlessly. So then we get the three captains, and none of the captains are anybody I've ever played the game with before. So at this point,
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking to myself, this feels nothing like the original Cutthroat. Um, and uh, as much as I wanted it to, the way the picking of the teams with the twist and everything worked out, I tried to keep a positive mentality, but we really had a lot of controversy on our team. I mean, it was like Riley and Anna Lee got into it with
Yeah.
Letty in the beginning. They wanted Letty out. I see Letty as probably one of our strongest assets, if on the team. And the bickering and the internal drama on our team was pretty rough, and I tried to keep a positive mindset. I tried to listen while everybody was just vomiting ideas out in the deliberations, and I tried to kind of probe for more information from whoever I thought was on track, because it was so many ideas and nobody's listening, and it was just kind of hard to build that cohesiveness.
I felt like they should have deferred to you a lot more strategically as someone who won the original season, but also just as a vet with a ton of experience. I feel like okay, so maybe you're not as fast as you once were. You're not as strong as you once were. Those things are like, they're not intangibles, right? Like what you have that's an
Yeah.
intangible and like an irreplaceable skill set on your team, specifically your team, because we've seen Nelson has had a really long hiatus, is experience. So it was a
Yes.
little weird when I didn't see them kind of taking that back seat. In retrospect, obviously, Monday morning quarterback it. Do you think there was an opportunity for you to take more of a captain's role, or were you okay kind of watching it just play out how it was?
Devin, honestly, for being there, you tried at certain moments to do that. Now, and here's the thing. I appreciate what you said. But had we showed up to balls in the mud and everybody came up with these, one-off ideas of how they thought it was going to go, I would have taken over control, knowing I've played this exact game and I've got the roadmap to it. If you look at the first three challenges, there wasn't a huge opportunity to do that. Even in the bridge
Yeah.
challenge, we were able to go last, which we drew for that. And I thought we won something. We didn't, because they learned how to work the ropes even more after the first and second heat. So by the time our heat went, that bridge was moving a lot more than the first one, which is not normal. Usually it's an advantage.
Oh,
So, I mean, and I'm not making excuses either. I mean, we definitely did our best every day. We showed up and did the best we could with what we had. But these weren't games that I felt like I had figured out. Had they been, I would have definitely tried to pull the override. However, we had the slide puzzle, we had the bridge. Which one am I leaving out here? Slide puzzle, bridge, and what
You
was the
had
first one?
are you talking the slide puzzle being the boat one?
Yes.
well, that you had the heights challenge, the
Yeah,
trivia kind of,
the heights
Oh,
trivia. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I forgot. That was a great challenge, by the way.
not necessarily
Um,
trivia, but
right.
yeah, and even in that one, you and Nelson kind of get into it a little bit. Zach on his podcast mentioned it was like it was a girls' day. He wasn't really sure why Nelson was coming in so hard. Was there something we didn't see, or was that just kind of like, I think Nelson potentially having like coming back with something to prove, massive competitor, feeling really fiery, and then you obviously not ever one to back down. Was it just like kind of a clash of the Titans in a sense, or was there something we didn't see?
I'm not sure how much of this people saw, because I'm reliving the experience when I watch it, but he was yelling at Annalie and Riley on our team. And I'm listening to what he's yelling at them about, and I don't hear an objective. I hear emotional venting, and our team's already falling apart. So at that point, I chimed in and I started to yell at him And he told me not to cuss at him. Him and I get into it. And it was kind of the best case scenario when you really think about it, because instead of him yelling at the two female players, he started yelling at me. I apologized immediately afterwards. We squashed it and we moved on. So it was when he was yelling at the girls on the team that I was just thinking, like, this is the last thing we need right now. So I was frustrated as well. We all were super frustrated. We double DQ'd. We dealt with 20 minutes of Kara saying we're not even going to do this challenge. So we felt like we're not even going to get a chance to compete. I sat on the edge of that building, Devin, for like 40 full minutes. Okay. And you never know when they're going to drop you or not drop you. I mean, they usually do drop you to get the shot. So I'm sitting there for like 40 minutes. I can't hear anything. I'm blindfolded. I hear the cars way out back, way down below. I feel the wind blowing and like my legs almost start to cramp up because I'm standing on a trap door at the edge of a building for 40 minutes. Still don't know what happened. We double DQ. Nelson starts yelling at the girls, and I was done with it. So I got right into it with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does. It just feels like from an individual talent standpoint, that team should not be this. There shouldn't be that much of a drop off from the other two. And it just feels like there was potentially like someone that was able to, like, you guys needed Phil Jackson. You needed like a Zen master for all those big personalities, because it's not that like that there aren't good individual players or even good people that would be assets to teams. It's like just that specific collective of people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Josh comes across as someone with a pretty big ego. Anna Lee comes across as someone with a pretty big ego. And Letty comes across as someone with a pretty big ego. All rookies trying to make a splash in the game. And then you've got you and Nelson, who are like, I would imagine in your minds being like, yo, you guys have never been here. Like, listen to us. In
Yeah.
Kara, two-time champ, maybe potentially underperforming, but like, I guess it was just, it felt like there was someone missing to mesh you guys all together, to balance all those personalities.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a rough start for Blue from the beginning.
yeah, for sure.
Sorry,
And I
Brad,
would almost like to
continue.
see like coach tryouts for Team Blue, because honestly, no, I just like to see somebody go in there and actually get them to listen. It felt like a pissing match of ideas of whose idea was better. And you could just tell no one's listening to the other person's idea. A lot of that was between the girls, Letty, Anna Lee. That was a good chunk of it. And honestly, I hear what you're saying. Had I saw the challenge that I knew I had experience with, I would have done what you're speaking to. I would have,
You would have dove in.
I would have had to have shut it down. But it was just, between the bridge, the rooftop, and then the slide puzzle. I mean, we did the best we could, and even on the slide puzzle,
Tough
that
draw.
was the one. Yeah, that was the one that we deliberated the most with, and because I'm decent with a puzzle, but like I don't claim to be the puzzle guy. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would hear Anna Lee. Now Anna Lee won that puzzle where she became the captain because she bought that puzzle off of Amazon right before she showed up. She even told me I bought that exact puzzle. So when she was speaking to the slide puzzle, I probed for more information, trying to demonstrate what good listening looked like to the rest of the group. So I would say, Anna Lee, tell me more about that. Instead of just throwing my ideas out, I tried to model listening in the deliberation. But it
I'm
was
also
still a challenge that I didn't feel like
wouldn't step up. I don't understand why Kara wouldn't step up for a slider puzzle, because she does tons of those.
Yeah, Paulie, I will say something that I was excited to try to play a season with Kara this season, because we never really got a great chance to do that in the past. We so far neither one of us have had the best season, and
Right.
I will say, like, even with the building, and I tried talking to Kara and reminding her of all the amazing stuff that she has accomplished, she is not checked in like I normally see her checked in on this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, is there let me ask you this. Was anybody on your team directly working with each other? Were there alliances on your team? Because I think I'm seeing what's happening. It just dawned on me. But maybe I don't know.
Shoot. What are you seeing?
Well, no, was anybody in like a full blown alliance, public knowledge based alliance with
No,
each other from your team? Okay,
no.
that's literally what it is,
Yeah.
because that's why there's so many different cooks in the kitchen and no one's really backing each other, because even if you disagree with someone but they're in your alliance, you're gonna maybe take a back seat or back them even if you think they're wrong, just
Right.
because you want that person to do well. The other two teams have like 3, 4-person, 5-person, really strong alliances all on one team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the only
It's
I was just going to say the only alliances we had would be like Nelson with Corey. That one was obvious. You
Yep,
had Kara and CT, but there was nothing on the team. I think Nelson's pretty safe in this game. That word was it was pretty quick to spread around the house that Nelson's not going in. So,
well, because everybody wants him in a final, right? Because he's got, you know.
well,
well,
that's one theory. I mean, I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't certain people that thought that, but like he also had a very comfortable position just coming back. And I think there was a multitude of reasons. I mean, because we know, I mean, he's an amazing competitor. Truly, he is. And the way he showed up, even with his prosthetic, man, I was just blown away at the fight that man still has in his heart. And I love him to death. I really do.
And the
So it's,
positivity.
well, 100%, and it's hard for me to say or even recite something that somebody else said that's gonna be towards, free ticket to the final. I do think there were a couple people with that mentality. However, um, there was more to that in his protection in the game. I think it was his relationships. There might have been a dash of
I
that,
agree.
but yeah, I can't I don't wanna take anything away from the man, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having Corey and Maurice on one team, and then having we spoke with Chris before, and I didn't understand really his relationship with Corey, but it is runs pretty deep from USA too. So then when you throw Chris in there, it's like and Chris was, obviously attached to Survivor, right? So if Chris wants to do, it's like that's where the challenge web starts to get tangled. If Nelson's attached to Corey and Corey's attached to Chris and Chris is attached to Tori and Michelle, all of a sudden he's spanning two teams of safety. The only place he's potentially vulnerable is his own team.
Right,
Um, so it was, yeah, it's interesting that I think the outlier, it's like one of these teams is not like the others because none of them are playing together. So
right.
it's very difficult when you don't have like a nucleus on a team. It's very difficult for everyone not to want to be the person that makes the decision, especially when you've got like rookies that start a lot of sentences with I. Pretty much you can decipher who's going to be a team player based off of how many sentences you start with I. And
Fair.
Annalise count is pretty
She's up
fucking
there.
up there.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
up there.
that's fair.
Brad, I gotta ask you something. Why hasn't anybody told Josh to just shut the fuck up at this point? I'm sorry. I just gotta ask. Like, I feel like there would have been a time where, and I hate to say it, but Brad, like, listen, we have a great relationship, but I feel like the gap between the OGs and the young people are like, you guys are too old to want to be arguing with these fucking kids. Where in the past, somebody would have been like, hey, why don't you just shut the fuck up at this point? And that's where I'm like, I feel like in order to bring out the old versions of the OGs, you need these in between gap people, like from era 3 and era 4, to kind of be there. Cause it's like right now, if it happens, like you said, these people have engines, right? They're on a different playing field in terms of having the youth, having all that shit on their side. But you put that little buffer zone in there. You're telling me that Brad Daddy ain't coming out and being like, hey, motherfucker, watch your mouth, shut the fuck up.
To be fair, Paulie, I see your point, and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, we were outnumbered this season. You know what I mean? And that's the first time I've ever felt like that since I started this game. So it was very just different to come out and feel like not only are we outnumbered, but there was a little bit of talk about the vets sticking together. And then you could clearly see For example, like look at how Johnny buddies up with Leo and Josh. There's certain individuals that are considered veterans that are trying to jump ship,
And
and you don't know how votes are going to play out. So it's kind of like it would have been very nice to have additional support in the season to not just know you're not outnumbered when you're speaking to a certain situation, but to also be able to piggyback off of some things that you might be saying. And then I agree with, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you told
100%.
him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. Then you can hop on that with him.
Right.
We lost Paulie for a second, but I have a question I wanted to ask Brad about that decision where you're talking to Johnny, and I mean, I think at this point you probably saw the writing on the wall because of his relationship with um, Goldstein.
Yeah.
So, and you would have heard that whisper that um, Nelson wasn't going in, right?
Right.
So, Brad, I wanted to ask you during your pitch to Johnny to stay out of the sand. I had gone on Zach Nichols' podcast and talked about how I felt like your pitch would have been potentially better received had it been who you wanted to go against instead of going into the sand like altogether. Um, were you in the know that this was kind of happening? Like you were going to go down there, or did you think there was like, were you kind of on not aware of Johnny's relationship with Josh?
I was not. So I found out right after the pitch. And
Okay.
I had heard that they'd hung out a couple times before the game. So I didn't know that they like hung out regularly. I didn't know if it was an event that they had saw each other at. I really had no idea. So I already knew Keanu was going in. That was the talk of the gray team. They were sending Keanu in no matter what. So uh,
Oh,
yes.
there
there
was
was
no
no choice
choice.
of Leo.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Of
Interesting.
course not. No way. And that was Johnny's go-to. That was his new buddy.
You,
So there was
you
no
know,
way he was throwing Leo in. There was no way.
see,
Um,
I gotta
Okay.
say this, Brad, because that upsets me just a little bit, and I will say why. And it's because after 41, there was almost like a call to action of like, we need all the OGs, we need to hold the line, these new kids, whatever. And at the first chance of it, first of all, it's a little weird that somebody you're friends with in Miami somehow gets cast on a show that he's been obsessed with for 10 years. Don't think he should be there personally. But after having this wild call to arms of we need to hold the line, we need to stick together, fuck these new kids, at the first chance of pretty much an opportunity of fuck this new kid or hold the line, it's let's not hold the line and let's fuck the OGs.
for sure. And what
How
I will say, go ahead. Go
how do
ahead.
you feel about that, Brad? Because
Uh,
it did. I would have been under the impression that. I mean, I know you said there's OG's starting to stray or whatever, but like, just walk us through that a little bit because it was confusing as a viewer
It
and
seems
knowing
like
your
you
guys'
were used as
history.
a shield.
It
And it
was a
seems
little
like you were
confusing.
like a sheep, like that was like, here.
well, and I see your point on that. What I will say is this. Uh, Johnny and I are on different teams. I didn't fully understand the details of their relationship. I did try to explain to him that if he does me a favor on this one, I would do him a favor looking out moving forward for sure. I spiked a 103-degree fever the night before that elimination. That's why I
Oh,
pitched that to
God.
Johnny, for the record. I hadn't spiked a fever in over a decade.
Wow.
103, I was shivering under my blankets, had to cancel my interview and everything. And the medic came in and took my temperature. That's the only reason I knew it was 103. And I went up to him. That was the following day that I went up to him and I spoke to him, just saying like, "Hey, man, if you can keep me out of this one, I got you for sure." Um, and that's when he said, "I'm gonna have to do what's best for the team, and my team is a part of this decision." Now we all know on guy, yeah, I know, Paulie. So like we all know, but we know on guy day, guy captain has control, female captain usually has control. So I'm feeling the cop out coming. So I already knew I was going in. I tried the best I could with what I had. I knew I was going in
That's
that
good
night.
context.
Yeah, well, and I saw that it was climbing, and honestly, boys, I thought I had that. I mean, I knew Keanu was gonna be a
Well,
beast. I knew he was gonna be a force to be reckoned with. I showed up, I saw a climbing wall. I thought to myself, "I don't care what this takes, we have to win, and if we don't, like, this team's just been chalking up L's the whole season to date." So, like, that win was everything to me. I did everything I could that night, and I just couldn't pull the damn thing off. Still bothers me to this day.
Well, and you know what, Brad? I find that interesting, right? And this is something that is very interesting about how certain people play the game, because if the roles were reversed, I feel as though you would be put in a position where you would need to sway the team captain's vote in order to protect somebody who would be in my opinion, somebody that you need to protect the old guard from the new guard from, especially if they spiked a fever the night before. But here we are in a situation where when it doesn't benefit that person, it turns into, hey, it's my team. When
Yeah,
knowing damn well he had full control over Will, full control over the other rookies on that team. The only people who he didn't have control of on that team were possibly Michelle, Tori, and CT.
and I think that's part of where Johnny was a little bit turned off by the vet whole, like, vets look out for vets thing. He went into the first elimination. To be fair, I thought I was going to be put against him in that one. So I was shocked that I didn't actually go into that first one with Johnny. And I think after he came back from that first one, he looked at it like everybody has to go in because he did. So I think that kind of changed his mentality
Oh,
too.
Brad, that is genius perception. That is exactly what happened, and it had
What?
gone over my head until right now. The fuck it button got pressed episode 1.
Yeah, no, it did. It did.
Right,
For
the,
sure.
the
Everything
fuck the vets button got pressed the second CT
everything
turned
that
on it.
everything that had been even thought about, potentially mildly agreed upon, whatever it was, if it was gonna be mutually beneficial, all of that got crumpled up and thrown in the window. I am
100%.
now only accepting things that are directly beneficial to me, and that
100%.
is I'm not gonna say that I don't even have a problem with that because, like you just pointed out, it once you go down there and it
Yep.
feels like everybody's against you, so to speak, and he's got enough perception to recognize when if it's going to continue to happen. He's like, okay, well, my team can't trust my team, so now let me go grab some people I can trust. I'm dating Letty or interested in Letty. Let me hold on to this 41, these guys from 41 that I got. Start building my own little pack over here because I don't have the one I thought I did. And I think you were just potentially collateral damage in that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that breaks it down pretty well. I mean, I understand why he made the moves he made. Note taken, nonetheless. I just
See,
I feel like,
that's the OG Brad coming out. Note taken.
well, yeah, I mean, it has to be like that, Paulie, because you get put in these difficult positions where you don't know. It's like you get put in a hard spot, and this is the only data you have to go off of. You know what I mean? Is prior choices and experiences.
One hundred
Yeah,
percent, brother.
no, absolutely. Well, it was, it was, it's always good to have you on a season just to get one reaction of pure joy, not just, but one comes every time. And this time for you, it was Tori's birthday party and the look of elatement on your face. You were loving that party, Brad.
Yeah, it
What,
was
what
good.
about it got you so stoked?
Well, it was nonstop action. We kind of just started making these crazy little outfits and shit like that. And um, Tori's an amazing soul. So it's like, it was just great to be able to celebrate her birthday with everybody on the show. And then I think the expression that you're thinking of is when I first saw Letty come out with the wrestling
Yep.
outfit. Well, here's the thing. I didn't know it was Letty. For like a split second, I'm like, who the fuck is this person that just came out yelling? And then I think Tori even said the same thing. Like until she got right in front of her, she didn't know who it was. So I think I'm pretty sure that's the reaction that we're talking about. But it was a
All right.
good party. It was a fun night. There was a lot they didn't show from that night. It kind of turned into
Yeah.
the Adrian and Josh episode with that whole bit. But
Ooh.
the party itself was fun. It was a great time. It was awesome.
Now, Brad, did you like this party better, or did you like the party on Final Reckoning first night where I convinced the girls to take their tops off and make out with each other?
Ooh, that was a good party too, Paulie. I mean, yeah, I don't
Fair
know.
ass.
Two different things. You know what I mean? Two different things for sure.
That's great. There's there's something in the water out there in Thailand, and what is going on out there
Dude,
with some of these people in relationships? Because
Yeah,
it's not looking great this out.
not looking great for any of
no,
them.
no,
Well,
no.
you and Chris and Michelle and Tori all seem to be completely in the clear. But
Yeah.
I think the list stops there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, ooh, like after watching this last one, a lot of like awkward emotion for her husband, for her, for the whole scenario. Um, what a tough place to learn a lesson like this. But nonetheless, like whatever you guys have going on that needs to be figured out, that's a blessing that you're going to be able to figure it out. You shouldn't stay in a relationship if you're not happy. And if you're not putting in the work to fix that, to become happy, I think you're spending a lot of your time and that other person's time, and those issues need to be addressed. So if there's one thing that I can hope for Anna Lee and her husband is no matter what the outcome of this is going to be for them, at least they can figure out what issues kind of brought this about because
Yeah.
uncomfortable to watch. I mean, I think everybody felt uncomfortable to watch the dialogue between her and Leo, but um, man, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the season's got everything though. I mean, you got to give it that. You know, it's got competition, it's got fights, it's got hookups, it's got you know all the drama you could possibly ask for, and sometimes you get more than you were asking for, I
Now,
guess.
now, Brad, let me ask
Great
you
way
this.
to put it, Brad.
Great,
Thanks.
phenomenal way to put it. And I got to ask you this question because you are, I feel like you're somebody who would kind of step in, and this might have put you over the edge. Seeing Leo put it on thick for a married woman, I feel like you would have been like, "Hey, listen, brother, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but like, there's other chicks in here."
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't see that didn't happen in front of my face. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, yeah. No,
here's
I'm
what I
saying
can
a
tell you.
hypothetical. If you were there
I would
seeing
have,
this,
yeah, I probably would have pulled her aside, if anything, before Leo and said something like, hey, your husband's not going to like this. So, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just an uncomfortable
yeah.
situation.
And from what we see on social media, she lives a very good life. So this guy provides very well
Yeah.
in that scenario. And from what I hear, is he former military or is he former SWAT? Like what is his situation?
I don't want to make any speculations, but because I have no idea who the guy is. I've only seen like one photo of him on Twitter, like when I was constantly refreshing the page because my girlfriend was there. And
Mhm.
there's like little whispers on Twitter all the time, and I'm getting tagged left and right. There was a rumor that Michelle and Chris were having an affair. I said, well,
Oh
I
my
can
God.
crumple that
That
one
was
up and throw
wild.
it in the trash can. Well,
For
no, I know.
sure.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it was just people trying to affect the game by like getting me or Kate to get on a phone call with them and be like, and fuck up their mental.
Right.
Now,
Wow. Yeah.
thankfully, this is not my first rodeo, but I've only ever seen a photo of the guy. I believe he's a guy that I wouldn't want on my bad side.
Right.
That's all I know. But then again, I also think it's not a good look from either one of them, but I actually go pretty 50-50 here
Yeah.
in terms of the blame game
I go
because
50-50.
I go 50-50 just cuz like just super cringy from both parties.
And,
For
and
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not speaking from a place of above anybody, right? Because I've been there.
Also,
Brad
I want to
watched
be
on
really
my
clear.
first season.
I want to be
That.
super clear. I'm not talking 50-50 between her and her husband that I've never met or seen.
Yeah.
I'm saying between Annalie and Leo, I'm going right down the
100%.
middle.
100%.
Yeah, I got
Yeah, I'm
That's
going 50-50 blame on both of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will say that
that's fair.
100%. Like, as much as it's on me on Final Reckoning when I cheated on my significant other, I was being very heavily pursued, almost as heavy as Leo's pursuing Anna Lee in this situation. I think that it needs
You
to.
weren't married.
I wasn't married. But that's my only thing. Is like me and my ex were only dating for like 3 months. You
Yeah, you're
know,
not married.
not married,
Not
not sitting
assets
there with a
involved.
farm. There's no assets involved. This was very much like somebody who works really hard for the partner, and then it's like she sleeps with the mailman or like the pool guy. And it's like, but he had time for me, or like the unemployed guy. It's like, yeah, of course he had time for you. He doesn't fucking work,
Mm, it's a
you know?
decent point. Well, we
Yeah,
wish
it
him the
is.
best. We hope it works out for him.
For sure.
We really do. I think, Brad, you nailed it on the head. Tough place to learn the lesson, but better to learn it than to leave it, unlearned, I guess.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
a lot of saying learned a lot in that sentence for
Yeah.
sure. Let's just play the comparison game. I have a feeling I know what the answer is. Cutthroat 1 or Cutthroat 2, Brad? Which do you prefer?
Ooh, I'm going Cutthroat 1.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I don't think as good as this season has been so far, it's going to be very hard to top the original.
Yeah, it's great. And then what are your thoughts too? I was skeptical initially about the movement from MTV to Paramount Plus. I'm actually loving it because I get to like watch the episode on my own time whenever I want, and
Yeah,
the conversation starts like in the morning instead of at night, and then you have to go to bed. Like
right.
like being in it or not being in it or whatever, waiting for these things to kind of happen. It's like you get the whole day Wednesday for the episode. How are you feeling about the transition from MTV to Paramount Plus? I mean, you're an OG MTV guy.
Honestly, if I'm with it. I like what you just said. I like being able to wake up, watch it on my own time. And then I do like how the conversation starts online a little bit earlier. Um, to be honest, I'm just grateful that the show was picked up and that it's still continuing. This show's been such a big part of my life. I filmed my first show, Real World, in 2003. Um,
Wow.
so I just feel blessed to be a part of something that's still going strong the way it is. So I can only hope that this transition gets them the ratings that they want and that we see a lot of future seasons.
Hell yeah, Brad.
Brad, I love that. I know you're on a time crunch, Brad, so I want to be respectful of that. It is 103. So if you got to jump, we can start the outro now. I mean, but if not,
I got a few more
we
minutes.
would
I
love to
just,
keep.
you know what it is? I'm
Okay.
getting emails and stuff that I got to respond to for that onboarding process. But like, I got a few more
Yeah.
minutes. We can do
Okay.
whatever.
All right. Keep on diving in then, Dev.
Yeah. So I mean, I let's just go here, right? Because as you've watched the season play out, and we've asked everybody this today, if knowing what you know now, if you could go back and you're a captain and you got a little wink wink going like Chris had with Justin, you could pick any two on your team, one guy, one girl, to kind of build that foundation and make sure that you do have some people to play with. Who would you have wanted on your team? One guy, one chick, to kind of start the nucleus if you could rebuild Blue.
Now, this is going into the exact same game on day one, and I'm the captain. I get to pick two.
You're the captain. Yep.
Well, you get to look at one of the other captains and essentially say, these are the
Yeah.
people that I want.
Like what
just
Chris
like
and
Chris
Justin
and
did.
did, which was a clear team up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like you guys got screwed.
I would probably take Bananas because he's got a lot of experience, but I also would like to be able to put myself in a position where he has to play with me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if that was an option, I would have picked him for a multitude of reasons. One being that he does show up and he is a seasoned veteran that can perform. But I'd also like to put myself in a position. I would pick the people after him to put him in a position where he would be almost forced to work with me in that game. A little bit of insurance, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then for a female player, I haven't seen the season unfold yet, so I'm going to go with Kara. I'd probably consider Letty,
All right.
because she really did. She was like 6'1" and just built. So it was like, you know, you knew
Wow.
she was going to be an asset, but I probably would have still picked Kara over her, just knowing her experience, knowing she's a solo winner, and expecting her to show up on that level.
It's so interesting how just like a couple tweaks to a team can change the entire dynamic. And what
100%.
it-
Yeah.
it's starting to unfold in my mind a little bit more. We had two teams team up. Of
Yeah.
course they had alliances on their teams
Right.
because they
Yes,
were
big time.
giving each other the,
dude, that just dawned on
100%.
us. Oh my
the
God.
players they want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was brutal to
Okay.
watch. So Devin,
Yeah.
after that, Anna Lee like folds and starts complaining about how they teamed up and how she doesn't like the team that she got. We're on the damn
Poison
team.
the well.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of poison in there. It was a rough
Oh my
start.
God.
And the
See,
other two
that's-
teams
that's-
were stacked.
yeah.
So
They were stacked, and right
They
there,
weren't necessarily stacked with individual talent so much more than yours as they were stacked with people that wanted to play together and that
Yeah.
knew how to work together and that had some sort of history together.
yeah.
So
Which is everything,
It really was socially, they were more socially stacked than physically stacked.
right. And they were
Yeah.
both, though, to be fair. They had both. I mean, like, even God,
You guys
like,
just had one of the two.
yeah, for sure. And I
Because
mean,
on
like,
paper, Letty, Cara, Annalise, no slouch. You,
Right.
Nelson, like,
Yeah. Even Josh.
Josh seems like he's pretty well rounded. Like,
Yeah.
you guys had bodies that could like accomplish things. You know, it was just you were up against two like full packages, and
Yeah.
then if you're up against two full packages and you're like 80% instead of 100, it's that becomes
Yeah.
a significant margin in a game like this.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah, it does. And you know what? It wasn't just that, but like if you look at the first three challenges themselves, like the rooftop was cool because of the aesthetics and the way it looked. And
I
it's
know,
always
man.
intense on the top of a building. But I would have loved to have balls in the mud. Some of these classics, just show
Yeah.
me one classic.
Or
And I
even
didn't get to
the
make it to the
rooftop one-
classics.
The rooftop one was such a important one for you guys to win because there
Yeah.
was no clear-cut advantage physically, and that
Right.
one, you know, that really was a dropping of the ball by both Cara and Anna Lee for DQing, and, you know, from what I've heard, Cara was, like, brutal up there, and, like, that's where you gotta lock in because you have to look at it from a spectrum of things of, like, if there's a few of these that we can win where these teams that stack themselves aren't going to just run through us, we have to win those ones right there. And I feel like that one was a very, very big drop. And that ultimately, you know, led to the beginning of the end. Because if Annalise already
Yes.
complaining when the teams were set and it didn't get nipped in the butt, and then now all of a sudden Josh, who would have been quiet, now he's starting to be that way. And then all of a sudden, you know, Cara drops the ball on top of the roof. Now those voices get louder. And now it's even harder if you wanted to regain control to tell everybody to shut the fuck up. I personally think Josh is a bitch. And if you did tell him to shut the fuck up, he would have shut the fuck up immediately in the way that only Brad can do. And by the way, with the beard, even scarier. You know, without the beard, scary, but it could get crazy. You know, so I really feel for Blue and you in this situation because it's like you got fucked on the draw. Then you got two rookies that are clearly super fans of the show and have been masturbating to wanting to be on it forever. Now wanting to outvoice you and Nelson and Cara, and it just turned into a shit show real fast.
And it did, and well said, Paulie, because that was definitely that was our challenge to lose on that rooftop, and we barely got a chance to even focus. We didn't think we were going to get to compete because Cara was saying, "I'll throw myself in. I'm absolutely not doing this." We're told if she doesn't compete, our team is DQ'd. So it was so stressful. And then even the play out, we double DQ'd. We don't know who it is. Everyone's saying it wasn't them. Nelson starts yelling at the girls with no objective. There's no objective in the argument. I'm listening to it. It's just emotional venting. So then my frustration leaks out onto Nelson. And then him and I got into it. And that really was like a devastating night for us because we wanted to win so bad. We didn't even get a shot. We double DQ'd. And then it just felt like we were losing constantly at that point.
It looked kind of, it didn't look great on TV, but this is a way more detailed and I believe accurate picture to the whole situation. Chris mentioned this in the last interview, this season is very much a chain reaction, a series of events, one that leads to another. And it's like, obviously, this is obvious to say, it started when they picked the teams, but I didn't realize how much that impacted the chemistry of your team, because when your captain is disappointed in who she has,
That's
that
awful.
already puts you on a shaky playing
Trajectory.
field.
Yeah,
So it's like
100%.
to be able to battle back from that. It turns out like your guys, you guys kind of had your backs against the wall, and in all things considered, Brad, it's always a pleasure to see on the screen.
Yeah. Thank you.
And kudos to you for coming back. This is now, you said 2003, 23 years in the
23 years.
making, a Michael Jordan numbered career in reality TV, a true OG in the space, a legend, and just a great guy with good insight.
Thank you,
Brad. We really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for being you, man.
Yeah,
of course. Thank you,
man.
guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always good to catch up. Love you both, man.
Yeah, and brother, the growth is amazing. You're a better man than me, because if a rookie was sitting there whining and bitching while you and Kara are fucking sitting right on that team, like, I don't know if my impulses wouldn't have been able to not just take over and just like be like, hey, go sit in the corner for a little bit. You're on timeout.
Now, are you talking specifically to the part? Because I wasn't there for when he gets into it with Kara. That happened right after I left.
I'm talking about when Anna Lee was throwing a hissy fit of the team not being what she wanted.
Oh, gotcha. He reacted to that. Is that what we're talking about?
No. I'm saying you're a better man than me for not reacting to Anna Lee throwing a hissy fit. I would have reacted and been like, go sit in the corner, sweetheart.
It was low key. She tried to keep it low key, but it was blatantly obvious. It did come out at one point in like casual conversation, and it was just us talking as a team about how we cannot think like that, because if we do, we're going to keep losing. So
yeah, well, you were correct there,
you were
Brad.
Correct.
But hey, fingers crossed for Blue Team to make a comeback. They are Paulie Calafiore and Brad Fiorenza. I am Devin Walker, and you all are wonderful. Thank you for listening. We'll be seeing you.